discuss Colin Kaepernick, who made an appearance at the AFROTECH Conference 2024 recently and talked about his new venture, which is an AI based platform that allows content creators the infrastructure to create and be the creators that they want to be without having to conform to any sort of industry or any sort of politics and all of that good stuff. And the central message that he wanted to get out is that not all money is good money. So he feels as though it's important for you to, if you are a creator, if you are a storyteller, if you are anything of the sort, don't sell your art down the road via a deal that is going to compromise the integrity of what it is that you want to do. Essentially, he is saying, stay 10 toes down. Not all money is good money. And if you do want to be a part of an infrastructure that allows you to do what you want to do, check out his own platform. So, of course, he's going to plug what he's doing as well. So this says AFROTECH 2024, Colin Kaepernick urges all money is not good money and talks Lumi, his AI-powered storytelling platform. When Colin Kaepernick took a knee during a preseason game ahead of the 2016 NFL season, the world ran with narratives about his decision. Today, he has a platform that is helping people who look like him share their stories. Taking the stage at the 2024 AFROTECH Conference on November 14th in Houston, the former San Francisco 49ers quarterback beamed with pride as he spoke to eager attendees about his platform, Lumi, which uses artificial intelligence to provide marginalized creators with opportunities for independence so they can share the stories that oftentimes live in their heads with no place to go. I've done the graphic novel, I've done a couple of children's books, and typically those processes from when a contract is signed to when it is released is over 2 years. Those projects need six-figure investments to get off the ground, and then on the back of that typically is 12 to 18 months before you become profitable. So you're looking at 3.5 years approximately before you become profitable on a project that shouldn't take that long. Now you add in all the elements of who gets to tell stories, what they look like, and we see what we don't represent in those spaces. So for us, we looked at how can we create this solution for any creator to be able to come on the platform and tell the story they want to. So when you come on, you can just have an idea of the story you want to tell. We'll help you with the character development. We'll help you create your character. We'll help you ideate and create your script. We'll help you create the imagery for the story, and then we'll help you put all of that together. That finished product will be digitally available as soon as you'll be able to physically publish that and merchandise it on the platform. The goal with Lumi is to create an all-in-one solution that will help people have full autonomy over telling the stories they desire to tell, he said. As a civil rights activist, Kaepernick is keen to move the culture forward. For the aspiring founders and creatives in the crowd, he urged them to hold tight to their integrity rather than jumping blindly into deals with investors who do not align with the vision and purpose of their ideas. I want to touch on one final piece there is for the founders out there. Also, who our investors are is extremely important. All money is not good money. I think being able to sit here and have this conversation, we are very fortunate to have incredible investors on this journey with us. We know there's bias within AI models today, and that exists because what historically has happened and how we've been excluded has caused those models to be biased. So as we think about building a future within AI, as we think about building new stories for the future and how we're represented and how we show up, we also have to be in the room building it. If there's anybody out here who wants to be on that journey with this building, please send us your resume. We'd love to check you out, to have a conversation and see what we can do. So there's Kaepernick telling the crowd there at AFROTECH that not all money is good money. Don't sign a bad deal, and check out his AI, centric platform if you want to be a part of an infrastructure that allows you to do what you want as a creator without being dictated to by the powers that be, if you will. So what do you think about Kaepernick's statements and about his Lumi platform?
I think that I think that, on the surface, sounds pretty good. Um, on the surface, I would also say that that's a pretty good program to have for people out there, and so they can more or less direct the consumer content and try to profit off it. So I think that that's on the surface, a good thing. The reason why I keep saying on the surface, and I don't mean to be cynical here, but I still have, I don't know what to think of Kaepernick as a person. Um, and this is just a personal thing I have with him, as far as being a guy that um, to me he's like a commercial activist, and he says a lot of stuff that sounds good, and this sounds good. My fear or concern with these AI platforms, and I discussed this when we talked about Will I Am, when he was talking about this, something similar to this, is that I don't know how these things work down the line when you try to really cash out on these things. I don't know what kind of fine print you're signing on to with these terms and agreements later on. So, for instance, on platforms such as this, on YouTube or Instagram or anything else like that, if the platform decides to ban you, demonetize you, or do anything that they want to do, well, that's their right to do it. Why? Because it's their platform. I would see people hoot and holler like, hey, this is my intellectual property. This is my hard work. I put all these hours in. I did this. I did that. It took me forever to get monetized. I feed my family off of this. You don't have the right to do this. No, they have every right to do that because you signed a term and agreement by uploading your stuff to this thing. So my concern for these AI driven things that are allowing people to do all of this stuff or whatever, at the turn of a key, assets could be frozen, seized, taken off the platform,
Subpoenaed.
subpoenas. Who knows, man? You know what I'm saying? And so there goes all of your intellectual property. Because on top of that, because you can sit here and say, hey, man, yeah, this was my idea. And it's like, yes, but our program also helped you develop the character. It also helped you develop the storyline. It also provided that. So we actually, percentage wise, we contributed more than you did. So this is now our story. Or they can run something very similar to that, not promote yours as much, but promote theirs, and then they get the money off of it. So when you're dealing with this AI stuff, it could get kind of, weird. And that's my concern with it, because it is so good at what it does. It can really screw people over. So on the surface, this sounds great, and I don't mean to be cynical with this, but I do like to caution people whenever they're providing so much information to these things. I would say be careful out there, and if you do have a great idea, keep that one in the holster and give it your other one, your demo one that is also good but not as good as the main one, and see what happens with that first. Because I don't know how this works when it comes to intellectual property down the line. Because right now this is just the beginning of it, and let's say 5 years down the line when things really start to blow up, you might not see it the way that you think you might. So what are your thoughts, man, on Sir Colin Kaepernick developing a program, honestly, which sounds noble, to help creators out there actually develop our own storyline and direct the consumer? What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I think it sounds good, but in it sounds good, but my trepidation with AI is preventing me from truly
Yeah, dude.
applauding this. You raise a good point first, real quick. You raise a good point about the ownership of IPs. That's a very good point. Um, for the as we continue to build this community, and we're doing this here on YouTube, I don't own this. YouTube does, unfortunately. If Google's servers were to shut down tomorrow, I would have no access to any of my content that's on YouTube. The only way that I'd be able to retain any access to it is if I literally went through the back end um, of my Creator Studio and downloaded the raw files of every video, and I saved them to like an external hard drive or something.
Which you
But
should do.
but yeah, I probably should do that. Barring me doing that, if something were to happen tomorrow, let's say the world economy collapsed and Google's server shut down, I'm asked out, and I do not have a right to claim any of this content because it lives and it is hosted on Google servers. They retain ownership. It's the same reason why your text messages aren't really private. They are, but they aren't. Because if the federal government wants to subpoena your text messages, they can do that. And the phone carriers would have to hand them over. And the individuals investigating you will have access to all of your text messages. So you think that all your stuff is 100% private. It's not. So that's actually a good point that you raise about that. We don't really own any of this stuff. If you play a video game, and you have a profile on the game and you don't put years upon years into your account and you don't put all of this money into it, if the game server shut down tomorrow, the game's just over, man.
Yeah.
The game's just over. And it doesn't matter how much money you put into it, you don't own the game.
Yeah, exactly.
But Bethesda owns the game, or Xbox, or whoever owned Naughty Dog, whoever made the video game, whoever owns the servers that host your game, they own your stuff, not you. You're just renting it for a while. So it's actually a good point that you bring that up, because even the notion of ownership, you take that with a grain of salt, because unless you created your own studio and you're creating your art and you have your own servers and you're creating it on your own AI platform that you invented, you really don't own it at the end of the day, ultimately.
Correct.
And my number one question to Kaepernick would be, do creators get 100% of their profits? Because I'm pretty sure they don't.
No, I
Like
don't think
like
so.
if a creator takes advantage of his platform to create something and they become monetized, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some term of service which dictates that his platform gets a percentage of that or some cut. Like, I'm pretty sure the creators don't get 100% of those profits. If they did, then that would be a whole different ball game. But to my knowledge, nothing like that has happened before it, and I don't see anything like that happening afterwards, because a service provider is always going to want to get some sort of ancillary benefit off of being able to provide said service. All of you women out there who think that you're entrepreneurs and you create stuff on OnlyFans, y'all don't own that content. If the OnlyFans server shut down tomorrow, your content's done. You don't own any of that stuff. You're utilizing their servers in order to be able to host your content, but you don't own it, which is why OnlyFans gets a cut of whatever your monetization value is. Whatever the valuation of that monetization is, you don't get 100% of that. They get a piece of it. So ultimate ownership is always something that needs to be dissected when we're talking about stuff like this. But even beyond that, it's hard for me to really fully embrace this because of my problems with AI, my cautious nature, my trepidation with AI. I am on the record, I'm not comfortable with AI, not because of how it can make a person's life convenient or how it can create applications or inroads that will make people's lives somehow better or enhanced or easier. I am cautious and I'm trepidatious about AI because I've said this before. I believe AI's true purpose is to eliminate humans from being productive members of society. I think AI's ultimate purpose is to eliminate humans from the workforce. That's what I think its goal is. And so to bring that back to this platform that Kaepernick has going on, I would like this a lot more if Kaepernick was creating a creator studio. And instead of it being AI powered, It was an actual studio that employed designers and artists and creatives to provide infrastructure and resources to people who have ideas. Because at that point, you are giving graphic designers, you're giving videographers, you're giving audiovisual experts, you're giving writers, you're giving these individuals an avenue to work and earn a living by lending their talents to other people with ideas for storytelling. I would like that idea, but that, of course, isn't cost effective. What is cost effective is creating an AI platform that can eliminate those prospective people from being able to do that kind of work and allowing a robot to do it. And by robot, I, of course, mean, an artificial intelligence of some sort, be it a voice activated, computer program or some sort of a coding thing or however AI is working these days. Or, they got AI programs creating television ads and marketing platforms and all of this kind of stuff. So that's what I mean by robot. But I would like it if somebody was creating a creator studio that allowed some of these other creatives to lend their abilities to said storytellers. And it can be like a symbiotic relationship. But what this is just yet another addition of an AI application that removes people from seats that they would otherwise occupy to do those very same functions. And I just wish we weren't at that point. I get how AI is beneficial in certain respects. I do not like how it eliminates humans from the workforce. I'd rather see Colin Kaepernick create a creator studio that employed graphic designers, that employed coders, that employed web developers, that employed people who knew HTML and JavaScript, people who knew how to work content management systems, people who were audiovisual experts, people who were videographers. I would rather him create that kind of thing. People who were experts in InDesign and Photoshop and Illustrator. Hire those people. These creatives out here are struggling to find work because they're being laid off, eliminated by these technologies by some of the very same technologies that he's putting out there. So, this isn't a Kaepernick bash segment for me. I'm not trying to blame him. This is the wave. AI is where this thing is headed. I am just uncomfortable with standing up and cheering for this on behalf of Kaepernick because I can only think or imagine the amount of creatives who could have a job if this was a traditional creator studio and not some AI powered thing. So that's my issue with it. Otherwise, I think if independent storytellers can seek out something like this, and it allows them to be able to not get into bad deals, 360 deals,
right,
sign deals with Hollywood studios or power brokers where they lose hold of the integrity of the art that they want to create because now it's in the hands of these outside influences that can just basically bastardize whatever you want and take your idea and neuter it and turning it into something that you didn't want it to be turned into. That, of course, I'm going to champion that. I'm cool with that. But what I'm also not cool with is like not giving creatives the opportunity to continue to create. It is not a very pretty scene for creatives out here in the world. And I consider myself a creative. I fancy myself a creative, but there's lots of creatives in the world who don't have an avenue to express their own creativity or do what they do or do what they know how to do to lend their talent to the world because they're being replaced by an AI. And that to me is unfortunate. I hate that. But it is what it is. I can continue to complain about it. It ain't gonna stop this train from rolling. So,
yeah.
Kaepernick's little AI platform can do what it does. Hopefully, these storytellers that are going to turn to his space in order to do it can retain as much of the financial benefit as possible from whatever it is that they create.
Yeah, and that's my wish, man. Again, I'm with you, bro. I'm not trying to bash this or per se bash Kaepernick for this. I'm weary of this AI stuff, man. It's so new, bro. And You know, I want to see these people out here and their ideas get their just due. If Kaepernick, you know, takes a little bit off the top like Amazon, that's fine. I'm still bulking 87% of the profit. I ain't gonna crab on that. You know, charge it to the game as far as being able to have the platform to generate, let's say, $70,000 for your idea. You know what I'm saying? I'm all for that. You know, but you know, my concern is the long term effects of all of this, of your intellectual property, because you know, God forbid if you created a Dr. Seuss level type thing and it's doing Dr. Seuss type numbers. Um, you know, who knows what these companies will do when they feel like they have the right to it just as much as you. When you try to take it off the platform and send it somewhere else, they say, no, no, we helped you make that, so it has to stay here. You know, so we technically own 13% of that. I don't know how that goes. So I'm wishing the best for people, and I'm not trying to be cynical here. But I like your idea, man, when it came to like creating a platform where people can do that. Not so much that I don't know if you were getting at that he would have to employ the people, but I like the idea of a creative studio where the creatives can, you know, all get together, kind of like Fiverr or any other similar website where you can just commission somebody that does this or does that, but also it provides the actual platform itself to upload whatever content, whether it be a movie or a series, books. So yes, people can get together on the back end on the creator side, but there's also this Netflixian audio bookian type of platform where you can go to watch everybody's Tubi level movies. You know what I'm saying? Where they actually created something out of this, but this was all made from this underground production studio or this underground writer over here and these series of writers. And you know, everybody collaborated with each other to get a direct to consumer kind of content out there, where you know, where people might have to start being comfortable with, you know, and you know, Tubi is like it's a meme, you know, for Tubi level movies, but you know, there's still people out there that's making these things and putting them out there. So you know, people might have to start getting comfortable with this. And this is no shade, man, but you know, like Hindi movies, not like Bollywood, but like those Hindi movies that's just shot and it's just in one house, or the Nigerian ones, or the Ethiopian ones, or the South American ones where it's just shot. It's very local stuff. The effects ain't good, but it's all about the story. I think Americans going to have to start getting used to that, because what's going on in Hollywood right now is dinosaur crazy stuff that we don't want to see no more. So I think it's going to have to be more of a grassroots level of people making their own at home, you know, creating that at home Hollywood type of thing, similar to what Tubi's doing, but without all the ratchetness and craziness, you know, because my trepidations with those Tubi movies is not that there's black people create movies and trying to do their own thing. It's just the level of scandal that those movies is. It's like, come on, we got to do better than this. We actually got a platform where we actually getting stuff uploaded. Let's have some Negroes out of space for a change. I'm tired of all of this, you know, sleeping with the grandfather, baby mama drama. So, but yeah, man. So hopefully all this stuff is on the up and up. But I'm with you 100%, man. You know, call me a old school millennial, man. But this stuff here gives me the creeps. And I would like to see this stuff play out for a few years before I put some of my real intellectual ideas on here, or things similar to it, you know?
Yeah. No, yeah, I feel that, man. My thoughts are just always with these creatives. The various channels that I frequent on a daily basis, keeping myself up to date on things happening in certain markets and industries.
Mm-hmm.
It is very unfortunate the rate at which creatives are losing avenues with which to earn a living because they're being replaced by applications like this. And I think it's unfortunate. You know, you're 30, 40, 50 years old and you're a talented designer and you're a graphic designer and this is what you've done your whole life and you're very good at what you do. You create fly stuff and you're being phased out because corporations and entrepreneurs and these venture capitalists and these world markets are basically diving all the way into these AI applications and you're just out of work. And that's the part that I think about. And part of this obviously is my sensibilities, you know, working in the marketing field for as long as I did. I've worked around creatives my entire life. I've been around, and these people are very talented. Some of the most talented people I've ever seen in person, creating crazy stuff. Some of these graphic designers and these coders, these web developers, and people who just are just surreal in terms of their level of talent to do this kind of stuff. And they're just one day, they're just not even going to be needed anymore.
Yep.
And that is very scary to me because what are these people supposed to do? Like, people need stuff to do. And if I feel like no one's thinking about that, everyone's just diving headfirst into how can we leverage AI for our own personal purposes, and no one's thinking about the existential long-term ramifications of it. That's how it feels to me. Everybody's just like, how can we leverage this now to get rich? And you know what's going to happen at the end of the day. You know, I feel for these creatives, man. I really do. People are going to need to learn, or rather, figure out a way to pivot. People are going to have to figure out a realistic way for them to pivot. And some of those people are going to have to figure that out at 50, 60 years old, others at 20, 25. It runs the gamut. Wherever you are in your life, however old you are, no matter what your tenure is, wherever you are, or how long you've been doing something, when the bottom falls out or when, you know, someone lets you know, hey, man, you've been laid off, it's like, what do I do? And my heart goes out to those people. I've been in that situation. It sucks, and no one deserves it. Especially you got these people out here who are lending their talents to create real cool things. They're paying their taxes. They're living right and they're doing what they're supposed to do. And they are nevertheless casualties to these market forces that are way beyond their control. And that I really do hate that. So again, to the storyteller who wants to utilize these kinds of resources, I'm not going to belittle that, but to these kinds of initiatives, you know, that Kaepernick is getting off the ground, how many potential roles for other creatives is that replacing? That's my question. And it isn't his responsibility to figure that out. I get it. But at a certain point, it's going to have to be somebody's.
Yeah, man. So, hey, y'all, you know, yeah, like you said, bro, if you 50 and you in the game, you know, or you were in the game and now they taking you out, if you were that good, you know what I'm saying, of whipping it just on Photoshop or whatever type of thing you was doing, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna have to start whipping it with that, you know, or something else, or, you know, just ride to get rolled on. Right now, this is a critical time in human history, man. This is a very critical time. And right now, you have to ride or get rolled on. And this is for everybody. So, yeah, ain't nothing safe out here. Ain't nothing sweet. And I'm gonna tell you right now, ain't nothing guaranteed 5 years from now. I think everybody can pretty much see that now. And even jobs where people getting you know what I'm saying, they masters and stuff. And I mean, there's ways that I can see that a robot can do that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I just got my master's and blah, blah. I'm like, bro, in 5 years, a robot going to be taking over the industry on that.
Yeah. None of that matters anymore.
Yeah. So y'all going to have to find a way, man, because there's going to be more Kaepernicks to come out with more AI applications. You know, find a way, y'all, and ride or get rolled on, but you know, you're going to have to make a place somewhere.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Shouts out to all of the creatives out there, man. You know, I'm with you, man. I'm with you in spirit, man. Creatives unite, man, for real, you know, because it is not sweet. It is not sweet.
We're gonna get through it, y'all. We're gonna make it, man. You know what I'm saying? We always do.